It's that day of the week which is called Saturday, where we get to discuss nothing but the best in sports, and I'm your host Amos, aka Amore. Welcome to Off the Pitch, and we've got a lot lined up for you so that you get to know what has been happening within the course of the week where we're jogging around. But before I go into that, Uncle Rapson, welcome to the show.
Well, it's always nice to be here. I've missed the show, I think, for a couple of weeks now. I've been away on some special duties, and it's always good to be back to discuss nothing but the best that we do. And to our dear viewers who are joining us this morning, we'd like to welcome you to the show where we discuss nothing but the best of football that we follow and gladly attach to our lives as Zambians. That unites us, it brings us together as a nation.
And on my far left, I've got Coach Nebat. Coach Nebat, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and we are here back at Camnet, and we are going to talk about the local games and which are happening, and I'm very grateful that you have invited me once again. And the viewers, keep tuned because there's more information coming. The best is here, and we are going to be together until this show is there every time.
We give an apology to one Augustine who is not with us on set here because he has a funeral, and we just wish him all the comfort and the condolences that we can offer to him, and hopefully as a crew we'll be there to mourn with him. Augustine, if you are there watching us either on phone or on TV, we say our condolences, bro. May you be strong as we discuss nothing but the best in terms of sports, like Uncle Rapson has alluded.
Quickest recovery to the sister.
Yeah. And it was a sad note that the sister is badly injured, and he lost, and Augustine lost a friend. So hopefully the sister will recover as soon as possible. Uncle Rapson, we saw an eventful week where we saw the under-17 boys thrashing the horse by 2-0. But for me, it was a performance that I never expected, because I watched the whole game and I expected the lads to score a lot of goals.
Well, these guys have not been, they've not been together for a bit. I think if you notice, the last time they played was a couple of months ago, and for them to regroup and just prepare for that tournament, I think we saw a brace from one skipper of the side, Joseph Sabogo Banda, who scored the 2 goals, and I think for me it was a great start for the tournament, and the lads are representing us well, and these are the lads that we must nurture into the under-20 and eventually into the senior team at some point. And I think for me it wasn't a very bad start. They had a couple of chances which they didn't convert in that game, and when you look at beating the host team, playing against the host team in your very first game of the tournament, it becomes a little bit of a pressure game, and you know the host team wants to also impress the country where everybody else is rallying behind the team, and in situations like that you grind the result and you score 2 goals against the host team. I think kudos to the technical bench for grinding that result. It wasn't easy to play the home side.
Coach Nebat, I'm sure you watched the game. I saw the lads passing the ball inside the 18 box, and mostly as a coach, when a player enters the field, they say once you are in the 18 box, shoot.
Yes.
But we saw them playing with a lot of passes in the 18 box. So for me, I thought they were too wasteful. I don't know what's your view on that?
Yeah, my view is that when you see players doing that, first you're talking about confidence. I think the players had too much confidence. I think they underrated the other opponents, because that means they knew what they were doing. Because normally when you are facing a team that is threatening you in attack, you always want to beat them first time. But like the way they did, it also talks about them working together as a team. Because if they are able to pass those short passes in the 18 area and be able to get organized, it means that the coach did a lot of good work on them. I think last time we were talking about this controversy that was there about choosing players from the teams in the Copa, in the line of Rail, and mostly Lusaka and Copper Belt. I think this is where maybe it was convincing to me to say the right mindset was picked, and we hope we are going to lift the cup in the
COVID-19 coming into play and corruption disturbing the groups?
Well, that's imminent. It's been expected, and you know, this pandemic has been well anticipated. So many permutations around it, but I think the impact it is having on the football fraternity it can't go unnoticed, if you ask me. And I think with time we should be able to live with it, because it's like it's here to stay. We only hope that none of the players will be that affected for the tournament to be called off.
Anyway, that's just a brief, but we'll get back just after this short break so that we discuss more in terms of the tournament that's happening and the cancellation of the other tournament of the under 20, which is supposed to take place. We'll just take a short break.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
This is Camnet TV World News. For a prompt response, call +2609 53 995 099 or +2609 62 444 726 or +2609 711 77467. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Some interesting games that we had within the course of the week, but as we before we went for a break, we were discussing the under 17, and today they'll be in action as they will be facing Eswatini. Hopefully we'll get a positive result on that as well, and maybe a beat corruption on the COSAFA under 20 championship, which was supposed to be held in Eswatini in December, starting on the 10th to the 18th, has been postponed to 2022. That's to allow other members like to work on the. I think it's just the COVID that's affecting this tournament.
Well, it's the red hot spots of the couple of countries that have been hit with the pandemic, and most of the national teams that would have been participating in December are actually highly affected. And I think it was very, very professional for the COSAFA organizers to call it off and postpone it to next year. Probably by then would have stabilized and allowed more countries in this part of Africa to participate in the tournament. Otherwise, for me, really, it's a good call. Let's proceed with the under 17. Let's end that tournament. Let's get back to the drawing board and reorganize the region with regards to the pandemic and prepare efficiently for the tournament as it has been postponed to unknown dates next year. But hopefully it should be able to come as quickly as possible so that we are able to close it and just I think the lads, the under 20 lads in this country, are very ready for that tournament, and it's unfortunate that it has been cut off, but such is life in the midst of the pandemic, and it's just to protect people's lives.
Question, but how do you see, how does this affect the mindset of a player, whereby they're expecting to participate in a tournament and then maybe it gets called off? Is the concentration mostly still the same?
No, the concentration is not going to be the same. The players have been affected, and yes, we can say we thank COSAFA for putting it off. But my question was, we knew that this disease has come, and it is always going to be there, and it is going to emerge. It's a virus, so you don't expect it to come it will always be more, it will have more impact. Every time it comes, it will always have an impact. So I think we should be ready as the Southern Africans, to the medical teams in each country, to sit down and really look at this so that it shouldn't disturb the calendars of every gathering, whether sporting or seminar or whatever, because by being isolating to each other, we are not forming up that bond that we are supposed to grow economically. Because remember, when football is there, people are happy in homes. Countries build relationships using football. So postponing this under-20 tournament is a big impact to the all African countries that are in the southern region. So I hope we are going to have a measure in the medical fields where even if this disease comes next year with more impact, we will still go on, because we have learned about COVID-19, and we just need to put up measures that are strict so that we can be able to combat it.
Maybe away from that, Uncle Rapson, you covered the Zanaco game that got played. That's the CAF Confederation Cup, where we saw Zanaco thrashing Binga AFC by 3-0. It's a scoreline that we discussed with Augustine here, and we knew that, oh, okay, Uncle Rapson is going to cover this game, and you were there in the stadium. How was it? Do we see a different Zanaco tomorrow?
Well, I watched the lads, the Mbinga boys, Mbinga FC from Mali. I mean, they are a marvel to watch. It's a group of young lads who are there to just enjoy themselves on the field of play, and I think on a couple of times they threatened quite a bit. They attacked our goal, and thanks to the goalkeeper who was brilliant on the day for Zanaco, and I think Moses Piri was spot on that day, and Zanaco could have scored a couple of goals. They created a myriad of chances, and I think to end the game at 3-0 was not a true reflection of how Zanaco played in that particular game, if you ask me. And going into Mali, playing a team that Zanaco beat 3-0, and they are now at home, I expect a very, very tough game, if you ask me, because I watched the lads play soccer, and they were very unfortunate to have conceded those goals. They were playing some entertaining football, I must confess. Very entertaining. They lacked maturity in front of goal. They hardly defended well, because every time Zanaco was in attack, especially on the left side where Moses and Abrams Yankombo were cutting in on the left, I think their defense needs to be, they need to up their game if they have to be competitive on the African continent, because they really lacked maturity in defense, to be honest. Otherwise, there was one, the third goal which was scored. It was purely a very, very defensive mistake by them, and it's a result that I think Zanaco Football Club is going to grind away from home tomorrow and just set themselves 2 legs in the group stages. 1 leg is already there. Probably this same leg is going to complete the double of Mbinga FC and proceed to the CAF Confederations Cup group stages.
As a coach, how do you help your players to overturn such a scoreline?
As a coach, you always emphasize on the mentality. If Zanaco scored at their home ground 3 goals, Mbinga can also do it. So when you look at the Mbinga guys, I think their coach will emphasize, remember, that's the team that has come all the way. And in Lusaka, they made a mistake. I think the problem that they had, as he has said, is finishing.
Yes.
So to me, I'm thinking that I didn't read on their lineup very well, but I'm thinking that they are missing a certain striker, or they are missing a certain attacking midfielder who was not who was not giving the other boys the game. So he was not in that game that they were playing here in Lusaka. So if they have their full squad when they are in Mali there, I think Zanaco will see it hard, because already, even if Zanaco was scored those 3 goals, they also had a lot of defensive errors that they are supposed to check. I hope they have worked on before arriving in Mali. I know that, I don't know if they have already arrived or they arrived yesterday.
Yes,
but the fact that the Zanaco must be able to check on those errors and correct them. If it means replacing some players who didn't show it on that particular day, even if they won, because when you win, it doesn't mean that everything is all right. It's just because you took some chances that other people didn't take. So this is what I think about that. But about Red Arrows,
Red Arrows playing at home.
Yes.
And Angorapson, we've seen how Red Arrows is advertised. Where we were joking, you were and Augustine, where you say, why should I watch a friendly? But do you feel like our marketing strategy at some point towards teams is bad? Because it's more, they want to overturn that scoreline.
I think for me, could Red Arrows management for allowing fans with the replica jerseys to walk into the stadium free of charge between 12 and 14 hours. I think the whole idea there is to have as many numbers as possible. You know, a 12th player on the field of play is a soccer fan, and what Red Arrows is looking for at this point is to turn around that 3-0 deficit that they already have. And turning around against a very, very big team on the African continent that has been participating on the CAF organized matches in Africa more than Red Arrows itself. And it's not going to be easy. Of course, when they were back home in Tanzania, I was watching that game in bits and pieces. Because remember, I was at Heroes.
Watching
so I would, in intervals, I would look at the game, watch a few minutes, proceed and watch the Zanaco Football Club. I really didn't get to see a lot of game time, but I think a summary of what happened was that there's one guy called Morrison who was a menace. And tormented a lot of defenders for Red Arrows. And if that guy could torment defenders in that muddy pitch, what more on a dry surface, a surface that is good for football? It will be an entertaining game tomorrow, and being a patriotic citizen, I can only wish Red Arrows all the best in that game. But they really need to make some drastic changes to the squad. Conceding 3-0, and probably here there was a red card also. So it's not something that is easy, if you ask me. It's not easy, because Simba are also looking forward to getting into group stages. They can't just easily throw away a 3-0 advantage to come and concede 4 goals at Heroes in 90 minutes. That would be a miracle for Red Arrows. I can only wish them all the best.
So some errors that we saw in the defense for Red Arrows, where we saw about 4 defenders being beaten by the same Morrison.
But why are you calling it an error?
Well, isn't that an error? How can 4 defenders? How can 4 defenders? But how can 4 defenders and Robson go to 1 striker?
But you give credit to a striker who dribbled all the 4 defenders, because that is where the cream of the story is. Let's look at the 4 defenders. These are professional defenders. These are 4 professional defenders who know their role on the field of play is to defend and stop every attack that is going towards the goal. Now, here is 1 striker. Morrison, that guy is a marvel to watch. I've been in the stadium as early as 14 hours. I think I need to watch his warm-up also. Here is a guy who takes on defenders, not once, not twice, but a couple of moments in 1 match. And you are going to call that an error by the defenders? It's not an error, it's probably a mistake.
What would be your advice, Coach Nebat, to the defenders? Because they say if the strikers can't score, let the defenders defend. Yes. But them conceding 3 goals, and that goal which those guys were dribbled, the one that we are laughing about, would you still go with that same defense, the back 4?
Skipper.
I
wish I miss Augustine. I would have spoken about his captain.
You know, to me, the way Red Arrows considered goals at Simba, it is mentality issue. As you talk, as the soccer fans, you always talk about Simba being a big team. But to me, as a coach, I think Simba is not a big team. Because you look at what they have achieved at the continental level. Yes, in Tanzania, maybe they have had a few cups here and there, they have won the league and stuff like that. But the continental level, what have they achieved? How far have they gone? So it's like you go 2 kilometers, then Simba goes 3 kilometers, but all of you have never reached. Understand? So here is the issue. Coach Chis must be able to emphasize on the mentality. Tell the players, because the way the coach believes is what the players are going to get. So if you are the coach, respects the other team very much, when you are explaining to the players what they are supposed to do in the field, it means that the players are also going to listen to what the coach says. So if a leader fears the other leader, it means that even your followers are going to do the same. You understand? So it's up to the coach now to put in the mentality where they should look at Simba as a small baby and deal with Simba at the home ground. Understand? Let's be like that shepherd dog, that when you are in its yard, you know that they are going to get bruised. And let Red Arrows represent Zambia and let them do the right thing today. They can still do a 4-0 here. I'm very sure. Look, it's the same Red Arrows that did damage to Nkwazi. And we know that Nkwazi has got a good defense. You understand? So if Red Arrows did a damage to Nkwazi in the local ground, it is the same Red Arrows that can do damage to Morrison. Why am I emphasizing on Morrison? Because if you look at I just watched the highlights, but you find that Morrison is a very good creative attacker. It means that he doesn't need one person to go there first. You follow him with 2 while you have got the other defender down. So that in those mistakes and in those creativity that is
every time you are defending against Morrison, you need
yes, you need backup. Because you shouldn't go, because the only thing that is supposed to be there is either you are following him outside the 18 area or you are taking the ball away from
him. So in short, that shows that the Red Arrows defense is not okay.
No, Red Arrows defense can be okay, but it depends on the striker that you have met. Because the strikers, like we have said, they create chances. So those strikers that create chances, this is the way to mark them. You just emphasize that, guys, the 2 of you should go there. The moment Morrison has got the ball, the 2 of you go there, disturb him, while the 3rd one comes in only to take away the ball. Understand? Because the free kicks may be, let's say, 30 meters away from the goalkeeper. It means that you are going to have the chance.
I like your approach to defending. One goes next to the guy,
the other one is a backup.
Yes.
But this is the same situation where the 4 of them were dribbled at the same time.
No,
it was the same situation if you watch the highlights.
If you look at the highlights, there was a lot of spaces. So you could move around them. So meaning that yes, you know, you could move around. So like you can say the beacons were very far from each other. So the question that must be there is that he shouldn't, when he beats the other one, he should just land into another defender. That means there'll be a lot of disturbance, because when I go in first, I'm dribbled, another one comes in, then me, I come again as a backup. So it means that
on the other hand, if I'm a coach for Simba and he's coach for Red Arrows and he employs that formula, the only thing I'm going to do is develop another creative attacker.
No, already you won't forget that there's Larry Warrior already.
Larry is very creative.
He's very creative.
You once attraction is centered on Morrison, as a coach from Simba, I'll be very happy. That's like 3 people.
You've substituted already.
3 people are down looking after 1 man. What will the other creative players do on the field of play?
No, because look, when you're in a defending position, you must. That's why there's this kind of play now where when you're in a defending position, except one person, and if that one is special, there's even a saying that if you are not Ronaldo or Messi, go and defend. Okay? So if the players there, they know that they are not that good. They are not good strikers for Red Arrows. All of them must come and defend. Because the first thing is to never allow a goal. Then after you don't allow a goal, you make sure that now when you have the chance, you score. So they can have only 4 chances, and if those 4 chances are clinical, they will score. Then it will be
for me, I feel like Red Arrows has already shown it to say what helped Simba was the fans.
Well, that stadia is
very big.
That stadia is very big, and you know, at the moment, I did a bit of some research during the course of the week. The number of fans is not determined by CAF.
Okay.
It's determined by the team hosting, whether they have the capacity to provide security for that number.
Yeah.
So what we normally avoid back home here, hosting a game and allowing more than 10,000, 15,000 fans, it calls for a lot of security. When you look at the security aspect of the pitch, like last weekend I was at Heroes Stadium watching the Zanaco game, and Zanaco requested for 10,000 fans. The question is, did you have 10,000 fans in the stadium? The answer is no. It was far less. But again, when you say 10,000 fans, it means that security-wise, you've got to commit the number of police officers that you're hiring to come and provide security. So that becomes a fixed cost on the club. So those costs are costs that clubs try to manage with anticipation of the number of fans that are going to trek into the stadium to see if they are going to break even. Now, if you look at Simba, back home they requested for 35,000 fans. 35,000 fans is equivalent to this stadium here.
At Heroes.
At full capacity.
Full capacity.
At full capacity. This one is about 40. It's about 60,000. This one, so maybe levy is about 40,000. But when you see the number of people that get there, and you know Simba is like, it's a national asset in Tanzania. So in terms of security, probably it's zero. They use state security for free. So for them, I think the 12th fan really caused a lot of damage to that pain to Red Arrows.
And I read the interruption I think we saw on social media where Simba fans were lining up to board the plane coming into Lusaka. So we might see
it's near other than by road. There are many.
We might see an equal number of fans.
There might even be more. You see, this is why Red Arrows has gone for this trick of saying whoever has a replica can walk into the stadium for that 2 hours and just enjoy.
And they'll extend on that 2 hours.
Probably to bring a lot of chaos if they extend it. They've done well to call it between 12 and 14 because they will provide enough security during that time. As we go towards the game, that arrangement should come to a halt so that you just allow the normal fans who are paying for the tickets to just freely walk in.
Edward, to conclude on this one, do you see Red Arrows beating Simba?
Me, I see it. I see it happening. As long as the coach mentality changes.
But are we seeing Red Arrows beating Simba and qualifying to the next stage?
Okay, I cannot see Red Arrows beating Simba and qualifying, but I see Red Arrows beating Simba. So that you will determine on the number of goals, because 3 goals again to just come in with 3 goals when Simba already knows, because Simba might even play defensively so that they can lock up, then they come out 0-0 because they know that they have already done the job. Even Zanaco, if they were to do that, they can also do it. If they think that their defense is good, they can also do it and they play defensively, park the bus and forget about the host. People complain, but at the end of the day, we want to go to the next stage.
I've watched Red Arrows many times this season, a lot of times this season, and the type of football they play, I have a little bit of faith in the team that they're able to perform and turn things around. But the only problem I have is turning things around by scoring 4 unanswered goals. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. The only thing I can tell and predict is that under the conditions they played football in Tanzania, it's very it was a bit rough. The pitch was not correct. The number of fans were very intimidating. So probably when they get back here, that intimidation is not there. They will have our support, and probably I'll be there, soccer fan number 1 tomorrow. And the type of football they play, really, the type of attacking football, if they can just get back to their own type of football without thinking and worrying and respecting Simba. But Simba is a team that is probably playing names. But when Red Arrows focuses on actualizing the result, they should be able to emerge victorious tomorrow. And for me, victorious, but 4 unanswered goals,
it's a challenge.
No, very
And all the best to both teams that are representing us in the CAF Confederation, as Red Arrows will try and overturn the goal deficit, which is already standing at 3-0. But for now, we'll just take a very short break as we get back and look at our local league.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
We saw some interesting encounters within the course of the week where we saw one Kongola Blades drawing with Nkana FC, where our goals came from Edward Mwenya and Jacob Ngurube. And this is not the only game that was played, but we'll discuss a bit on it. Kongola Blades and Gorabson, sharp Kongola Blades holding Nkana to a 1-0 draw.
Well,
Red.
Kongola Blades, they were very quick to score. I think they scored very quickly in that game, and it's unsettled in Nkana Football Club. And I think Nkana we are beginning to see a very huge gap when Alex Bazo is not in the team. Our goal scoring opportunities are limited because of the way he hustles on the field of play. I didn't expect Nkana to get away with 1 point in Chirirabombwe, and Nkana should have done better, especially that they were coming from a loss against Prison Leopards in the previous encounter. They should have done better to revive their hopes of being in the top 4. But slowly we are slipping out of there, and apparently one of the weakest links that we were laughing at in the beginning of the season was Power Dynamos. But look at how positive they are.
They are now.
They are doing very fine. But for Nkana Football Club, really, that game against Kongola Blades, we should have done better, and Coach Besson Chambeshi needs to do a lot of work to start grinding results. Otherwise he will sleep, because I know when you look at the log table, like 8-9 teams are separated by 3 points. So it's whoever goes to sleep, they might slide down into the red zone. Whoever wins, they might push themselves up and start challenging for the top 4. So difficult task for Beston Chambeshi. He really needs to pull up his socks.
Would we see a different Nkana now that the full concentration is just on Nkana as
but this is the same man who has lost against Prison Leopards full time and also failed to beat Kongola Blades. If you fail to beat teams like Prison Leopards and Kongola Blades, no disrespect to these two clubs, by the way, but being Nkana and you want to challenge for the title, these are not teams that you must be dropping points against. Drop points against Power Dynamos, everybody will understand. Drop points against Zesco United, everybody will understand. But dropping points against what we should be calling the whipping boys of the league, it's unacceptable.
This was just a recent game. Coach Nebert.
Yes, and when you look at Nkana, if you look at on the log, you look at the number of goals they have scored and the number of goals they have conceded. They have conceded more goals. They have conceded 13 goals and they have scored only 12, meaning that they don't have a lot of strikers. They have both problems. They are not scoring, they are conceding. So they have to work on both problems and see where they can be able to find a balance. Otherwise, if the league ends today, again,
due to COVID,
it's a disaster for them to finish on that position. And that club is respected, and the people revere it.
I'm glad that you know, Coach.
Yes.
That's a big club.
Yes, yeah. And Nkana is a big club by the history, but in the last 2 years, I think they haven't supported the history well. They haven't supported the history.
Probably we have gone into history now. They are no longer in the present.
This is just a current game, but we had other games that were played. That's the week 13 fixtures, and where we saw Green Eagles managing to beat Green Buffaloes and Gorabson. Goals scored by Derek Pulaya.
That is my man of the moment. Derek Pulaya is the man of the moment at this point in time, I can assure you. That boy is a marvel to watch, and the game they played against Zesco United, that's when I saw how great this boy is. He's really a talent, and when you look at how they tamed Green Buffaloes in Choma, very impressive. Somebody needed to stop Green Buffaloes, and thanks to Green Eagles for doing that, because we needed order. there's no way Green Buffaloes could have just been runaway winners. Every game they're just grinding results, they are winning. They needed to come to a halt, and just a reality check is also important for Coach Justin Chinama, for him to probably realize that he's probably going into an idle mode. Because, you know, when you've been on a positive trajectory for a bit, consistently winning games, and you get to a stage where if you are not very careful, you start sleeping. And I think that check by Green Eagles has probably ignited him. And this afternoon he's facing Prison Leopards at Woodland Stadium. That would be a cracker of a game. And you know, Prison Leopards is also coming from one belief that if we can beat Ghana, we can also drop Green Buffalo. So it will be an interesting game.
Coach Nebert, how do you help the players mentally? Because what Tango Rapson is saying is true. They've been playing games, winning games consistently, and then they just drop points to a Green Eagle squad.
Yes, that sometimes happens, especially when you are always winning, because you stop even checking on the critical things in the team, like maybe the team behavior, the team attitude, and especially every human being. We should also note that when you start doing good things, maybe the coach starts giving you that leeway and that respect, and at the end of the day you find that the same players maybe might not do right things at a certain training, but they'll still continue playing in the main team. Then they start getting that dominance among their friends, telling their friends that no, us who are going to play, we know that we are going to play. So I think the coach must put in that grip,
especially Green Buffaloes. They are Facebook players.
Yes.
Remember that Facebook player?
Yes. Yes. So the coach must put in the grip to say that he is going to change the team even if they win, so that every player must work to the standard that the coach wants.
So it's an issue of once it's consistency like this, a coach reaches an extent of feeling that best 11, it's just the one that can perform.
Yes, that you know, you always in human beings there's just like that. That's why you find some best people have lost out on best things at the last minute, because you felt that it's always like that. You know, it's always, even sometimes accidents are made in the best route that you always use, because you know there's a pothole there, there's what, and at the end of the day those things happen. So the question that must be there is, Green Buffaloes right now, they must check who made an error and were the errors made, who created that error.
It's Derek Olaya.
They found themselves in a pothole.
Is Derek Olaya a good striker? Does he create chances? If he doesn't create chances, what happened to their defense? You know, those are the questions. Yes.
Probably they answered those questions in the course of the week, and I'll be a witness this afternoon, because I'll be covering that game at Woodland Stadium. I would like to see how they respond after winning all the games and just going to Choma and losing that game. Their response will determine whether they are title contenders or not. Their response, their reaction to,
because once they drop points even today,
it becomes
a disaster.
Everybody will be feeling very confident to play Green Buffaloes. They have to rise up and just change that perception that they are still in contention.
Another interesting game that was played in corruption that saw 5 goals in it. It was Beautycon versus Zesco United, which was somehow a derby.
You know, that game, that game, at halftime it was 2-0 to Zesco United. I stopped following that game. At the end of the game, at 90 minutes, I realized the game was 3-2. I'm like, so the second half had a lot of goals. And that derby is always very tightly contested. And I think Beautycon are slowly becoming a team. You remember when they started the league, I was doubting them, and I think they have convinced me beyond reasonable doubt that they are a unit, they are training as a team, and they are delivering results as a team. To lose by 3-2, Zesco United too superior for Beautycon, and we know where Zesco United is coming from. They are the defending champions, and when you look at Numba Umamba and his lads, I think they have assembled a very, very big squad, very, very big squad, and I think Numba is one of the coaches that likes alternating players, and it gives confidence to even those that sit on the bench that don't play week in, week out. But when you are given an opportunity in a game, take your chance.
And the other thing that you should note also about Zesco and the Beautycon is that they have almost the same errors in the defense, because they have almost considered the same goals. Zesco has considered 10 goals so far, and the Beautycon 11 goals. So again, they are neighbors, so they watch each other, maybe training, they know each other. So that's a situation where, when you look at the game, Zesco won in the first half, Bitcoin won in the second half. You know, because in the second half,
they scored
two goals, 2-1. Then in the first half, it was 2-0. Yeah, so if you look at that, you find that Zesco, I think they panicked at some point, you know.
It's a game of chances, as we call it. Other games that we have played, we saw Forest Rangers managing to beat Kansanshi Dynamos and Kafue Celtic recording a win against the mighty Kongola Blades and Corruption. Brian Chilimina managed to score the goal. Kafue Celtic and Corruption that you were doubting at the first place.
I was doubting them before I watched them, and when I watched them, I've watched like 3-4 games that they have played this season, and I think Joe Warrior is doing a very, very good job there, and the entire technical bench, including management. I think the lads are playing some fantastic football, very, very solid, very, very solid as a team. Of course, the only thing, like I've always said, of course they beat Konkola Blades in that game by a goal to 0. That is after Konkola Blades also tried to beat Nkana. So they were coming from that kind of situation where you are from drawing against Nkana. Then probably at that point, Konkola Blades went into that game. They were wearing jackets in the field of play. They thought, if we can draw Nkana, who are these small lads?
Small lads, yeah.
Like in the Bible where, where you say, who are these uncircumcised Philistines? And you know, where you want to draw that anger and just go and punish the lads, only to find that the lads are more organized than Konkola Blades. So for me, it wasn't a shock that Kafue Celtic delivered that result. Fantastic. Except what Kafue Celtic need to do, I've watched them. They create a lot of chances. They've got a very, very tall striker and a very, very tall midfielder, very good midfielder. But I think their finishing is a bit bad. They would have won a number of games this season, but their finishing is unacceptably very, very bad. So if they can get into a striker, get a striker who can be employed as a top man to just finish off those chances they create, they can be a very good side at the end of the season.
Coach Nebat, Nkwazi team that has been good at defending lost points at home to Kawe Warriors.
Yes, I think Nkwazi and Kawe Warriors, when you look at their history, is always hard for Nkwazi. And if you look at them, you find that the way they played, I didn't watch the game, but I just looked at the results. 2-0 is not a good thing for a team like Nkwazi, because at least they could have done it 2-1. You know, consolation is always good in the game like that one, so that you shouldn't come out too much embarrassed after the game. So Nkwazi, they have to see, but I don't.
I hear in that game, Scott was one of the best players on the field of play. Nkwazi were really pushing, but the goalkeeper was perfect on the day. That's how come they beat Nkwazi Football Club. I'm told so. Yeah, I think I was briefed by a guy.
I think I've watched them. I've watched them twice in Nkwazi. They've got a very good and the creative number 6, but sometimes you find after some time he starts creating errors, especially after 60 minutes or so. He starts creating errors. I think they have to look at that number and see how they're going to perfect that guy. But I think he's very good. He's well coordinated, but after some time I think he loses focus, because really, when you look at him, he's very tall, he's very slim, very good posture. I think he can do a good job, except he has to be told that this time it's not your time, move out of the game, substitute him quickly, and they think they will not be having such problem. Because when you concede goals like 2 goals, you know that the numbers, most of the numbers that are affected are number 6, number 2, and number 3. Normally the 4-5 defenders, by the time they come in, you're already in the 18 area. So you understand. And most of the teams in Zambia.
But we have Harry Maguire. He's a planger.
No,
center back.
Yes, you know. Yeah, but when you look at the other side of EPL, which we are going to be talking about, the other side of EPL, we find that there are those creative strikers. But in Zambia, we normally have a situation where we miss on creativity. That's why we don't see a lot of goals in the league. If a league has few goals, it means that creativity of strikers is not there. We used to have Mbombo and these other strikers which have left the country, and look at that. From the time that these guys left the country, the Zambian league, the number of goals has been coming down.
The ratio. And just a quick one on other games. This Power Dynamos managed to beat Indeni by 3 goals to 0. Prison Leopards managed to beat Ghana by 1-0. And maybe let's just take a quick look at the games that we have for today, Angle Rapson. Like, that's the week 14 fixtures. We've got today, Saturday the 4th. At 13 hours, we've got Indeni versus Lusaka Dynamos. That's at Ghana Stadium and will be live on TV. And at 15, we've got Ghana versus Forest Rangers. Let's look at this game, Mangraps, on the Ghana versus Forest Rangers. In Ghana, that's coming from a lose and a draw. How are they going to approach this game?
It's a tough call, and I think these are some of the games that call for what do you call that when the police arrest on and caution statements. So this is one game where probably if Beston doesn't react and instill that confidence in the players to respond to the 2 bad games that they've gone through, I think it's you know, this calls for coaches leaving. They don't take long to start. It's reacting and responding to situations like where Ghana is, where you've dropped points where you needed not to be dropping points. So Ghana needs to come to the party and just do what they do best. I'm glad probably we'll have a couple of players. I'm not too sure about. I know Harrison Chisala is out on the treatment table, and that creativity in the midfield. Jack Bonguru has been doing very fine, and I think defensively we are not doing too good. I said we. Ghana Football Club is not doing too good defensively because the number of goals they've conceded. It really puts a goalkeeper of Kelvin Malunga's caliber at risk of even being rated as one of the best players. We've seen him make some brilliant saves during the course of the season, and I think they need to work on their defense. You are better off finishing the game without conceding, even if you are not scoring. Unlike where we are quick to concede and responsive to get a point, I think this issue of coming from behind all the time, it will be very, very difficult when you face a team like Forest Rangers. They are very agile, very, very agile. Forest Rangers is agile. They have this Zimbabwean striker called Shideo. The guy is brilliant in attack, very good striker, and that guy has been scoring. I think he's scored 3 goals in the last 3 games, and I'm beginning to see a complete striker in that player, and he's going to be a big menace into the Ghana defense this afternoon. People must watch Shideo today. He might give problems to Ghana Football Club. He has done that. He's been very consistent in the last couple of games, and it will be interesting to watch him against the Ghana Football Club this afternoon.
And another interesting encounter that we have, we've got Kongola Blades that will be hosting Green Eagles. And Coach Nebat, we saw Green Eagles that managed to beat Green Buffaloes. And then them traveling all the way to play Kongola Blades with that team or morale to say we managed to beat Green Buffaloes. Are you seeing a win for Green Eagles?
I can see that the Green Eagles might have a win if at all they change their methods, because I'm seeing a situation where the 2 goals came from one person. Okay, so suppose the Kongola Blades, which players normally do, the defenders they clamp down on it. You understand what happens? That means they have no alternative. So I think our current methods of coaching must be based on everyone must score. You understand? So it should be, we shouldn't depend on one particular person. Yes, if he scores 1, but it shouldn't be like, I would love to have a team where we have got 5 players who have scored 5 goals each one of them, and that would be great, because that means that team is consistent in scoring every time. Because when you score, defending becomes easy, because it's the other team that panics. And I just wanted to make a note on Power Dynamos. You know, I looked at the results for Power Dynamos, but what made me interesting in this week was the Facebook picture, which I saw is it the captain holding on the armpit of on the shoulders of the coach, of the head coach. I think that picture talks about a good relationship that is in the field. Don't underrate the issue of relationships with players. It's very important, but even a player must know that he's a player. But relationships, if they come out like that very clear, it shows that there's team unity in the team, and winning is possible where there's unity.
Yeah, just a quick run through. We've got Green Buffaloes that will be hosting Prison Lepers. We spoke of this game, and we've got Chambishi versus Nkwazi, and we've got Kansanshi Dynamos versus Beautycon. And tomorrow, Sunday the 5th, we've got one of the big games again, which is Zesco United versus Powered Dynamos at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium, and it will be live as well. Maybe a quick comment on this one, Uncle Rapson, before we look at the games in the Eden University League.
Zesco United versus
Power Dynamos.
Game of the weekend, if you ask me. And they are all coming from very fantastic wins. We had Zesco United coming out victorious against Beautycon. That's a derby that it can go unnoticed. 5-goal thriller in that particular encounter, and it has built that confidence in Zesco United as they push towards top 4. When you look at Power Dynamos, I can call them the resurgent Power Dynamos. They've resurrected themselves. They are slowly getting to where we know them, where they should be, and I think kudos to Monyach Pepo. He has instilled confidence in the fans, and I can see a couple of yellow shirts being worn, especially the 50 years anniversary. That's a brilliant shirt that Power Dynamos has come out with, and it's looking very nice on the team. No wonder they call them the smartest team in the league, and it will be an interesting encounter tomorrow. And for me, that game will actually determine how the league is going to be shaping up. It's not an easy encounter. Power Dynamos is on a very strong trajectory with regards to grinding results, and it will be interesting to see how Zesco United takes advantage of being at home in tomorrow's encounter at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium.
Let's just take a look at some of the games that in the Eden division. I'll just run them through, and then maybe we'll pick a few games. We've got at 13 hours, that's Gomes versus Mufurira Wanderers. That's the mighty. Maybe Coach Neba, the quick one on this game. We've got the mighty at the mighty Mufurira Wanderers. At that, this is one of the biggest clubs that we have in Zambia. But we've seen them struggling. Yeah, we've seen it struggling of late. Just a quick comment on this same game. Do we see them beating Gomes?
I don't see them beating Gomes. I see them draw or losing against Gomes. Why? Because I think they have been having inconsistencies with strikers. They score 1, they score 2, they don't score. So it comes to a point where you ask yourself, how are they training? What's the mentality of the team? And normally when you don't win a lot, whether you like it or not, you lose confidence in the long term. So they have to hurry, they have to do the right thing, because again, they want to qualify to come to the Premier League, but they are not showing that vigor, they are not showing that power that they can do it. So I think, to me, they will draw or lose against Gomes.
Uncle Rapson, NAPSA is running away in this table. NAPSA Stars today is facing Police College.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Police College is coming from a historical win. I cannot really historical. A great win against City of Lusaka, I think, in the previous round, and facing the league leaders whose ambition is getting back to the Premier League is not going to be easy. The game is at 13, and all roads will lead to Woodland Stadium, as it's the only venue that is hosting 2 important games in the capital city of Lusaka. And NAPSA Stars, I think, are equal to the task, if you ask me. They've been very consistent. They dropped points against Mufurira Wanderers. They only came back with 1 away at Chinde Stadium. And for me, we saw a couple of posts where Coach Perry and one Sondaka Pemba were recognized as the best coach and player of the Eden in the past 1 month. And that has just instilled a lot of confidence in the team. And getting into this afternoon's encounter, it will be interesting to see how they respond, because after dropping 2 points against Mufurira Wanderers, they were very lucky. The followers on the log also dropped points, so the gap still remains. I think it still remains 5 points at the top of the Eden League, and getting into this encounter, they should be able to collect maximum points this afternoon, because they are using their home ground. And I know how Woodland Stadium is and how the ball flows, and I know how my friend Perry Mtapa tutors the lads, and it will be an interesting game to see.
Yeah, maybe due to time, let me just do a run through in the other games. We've got Kitwe United, who's going to be hosting Jumulo, and Young Green Eagles versus Trident.
Kitwe United is playing Jumulo. Wow, Jumulo have got a new coach in George Kapemba, so it will be interesting to see how they respond. Remember, Jumulo had One Linos was
and it will be live.
He trekked to Power Dynamos as an assistant coach there, and I think Jumuro stayed with an interim coach for a bit, and now they've brought in one veteran, George Kapembwa. I have a lot of reservations about that appointment, but we'll let it pass for now, and we can only wish Jumuro the best in that.
We've got Young Green Eagles versus Trident. We've got Tesco Malite versus Quattro Kalumbila. We've got Wapula Green Eagles versus Nchanga Rangers. We've got Young Green Buffaloes versus Livingstone Pirates. And we've got Muza versus Kaisa. And tomorrow, December 5th, we've got City of Lusaka versus Lumana Radiance, a City of Lusaka of Basop. And they haven't been performing up to their standards.
Well, depending on what you're calling their standards. What standards do they have that they have created that their performance at this point is justifying that they are not performing up to standards? City of Lusaka, of course, we know it's a community side, very, very old with regards to its existence. But I think they should not be where they are. I miss City of Lusaka, where I think you're very young, I must say. Yes. They used to have players like Muhammad Sidat. That Indian used to play very good football. I think those days, when Muhammad Sidat was playing for City of Lusaka, it was proper City Yamoto. And I think this season is like they have a very, very good chance of finishing in the top 4, except they slipped last weekend. Like I said earlier, they were beaten by Police College, and it kind of halted their progress into the top 4. But I think tomorrow's encounter will be very interesting against Lumana Radiance, who's also pushing to finish in the top 4 and get back to the Premier League. So very, very interesting game tomorrow.
Coach Nebat, in 30 seconds, your final remarks due to time.
The league is going on, and we are approaching the window for another transfer. We just hope that the clubs, different clubs, are going to bring in different players, quality players for that matter, not the players that we just know, so that we can give them the space. I think we need our league to grow, and for our league to grow, we just need everyone on board to be there, including Camnet with the off-the-pitch program, which is helping a lot. And we also need to have a situation where, we need to just get the players from the best leagues now. I think when you look at our league, we are getting players from lower leagues than Zambian Premier League. So we just need to try to put up a little bit of, I don't know if it's finances or marketing, so that we can have better players coming from better leagues, so that they can come and make the Zambia Premier League a better league again.
Uncle Rapso, your final remarks.
My final remarks are in 2 folds. Kudos to Michael Carrick for stepping down at Manchester United. You need to drop off the stage while these people are still clapping, and that's what they exactly did. He got the result against Chelsea. Now
against Arsenal.
Against Chelsea. The last game they played, I think, was we beat Arsenal.
Yes.
Then he got a point at Stamford Bridge, which is a very, very good thing when you look at where Chelsea is and how Chelsea is tormenting teams. To go there when you are wounded like the way Man United was, to get a point from there is a very, very good result for him. And he quickly stepped down, and I think he did a good thing, because further than the Chelsea game, it would have been a disaster. So he's done well. We're coming back to the Premier League as we conclude. Let's support the lads. Let's flock to the stadium, guys. Protect yourselves. Mask up. Those of you who can stay away, please stay away from these crowds. And if you can manage to watch soccer on TV, please watch soccer on TV. We need you to be healthy. We need you to be fit. We don't need any of these pandemics to take stock or to take away life that we really treasure as a nation. So keep masking up, keep keeping that social distance, and all the best to the teams that are playing this weekend.
Anyway, we've come to the end of the show, and our heartfelt condolences again goes to one Augustine who just lost a friend, and the sister is truly injured out of the accident that they had. But hopefully by God's grace, everything will be okay and will come to pass. On behalf of the whole in the production team, one Elijah, not forgetting one Isaac upstairs there, who is directing from there, and Elijah is doing it from here, and my 2 colleagues here, one Uncle Rapson and Coach Nebat. This is where we say our bye-bye. See you next week, as you stay glued to Camnet TV, because Amazing Katamanda is coming on your way with the weekly gospel show. I'm out.